even know if tomorrow will happen. So I'm going to live with as much joy, peace, happiness, the fruits of the spirit today.
Welcome to Message Reveal. Message Reveal identifies a vibe, a message, or a story told through lyrics of a song. Well, you guys, if you rock with me every Monday, you know how I do. I introduce you to our special guest. But before we get started, I want to just remind you, if you're new to this platform, come subscribe and find out what Message Reveal is all about. Now, let's navigate back to our special guest. I have to tell you a few things that my special guest is associated with. Only a few things. So, one, she's a wife and a mother. We believe in family, so we big up that. Number two, she is a Christian woman. She identifies as that. So we celebrate that as well. But last but not least, she's a psychologist. You guys, please put your hands together and welcome my special guest, Dr. Maury Ross Alexander. Did I get it right?
You got it right. Thank you so much.
Welcome, young lady. How
Thank
are you?
I am doing beautiful. I am blessed. Every day is a blessing to me.
I agree. I definitely agree. And I just want to say to you, thank you. Anytime anybody takes the time out to come on my platform, I am so appreciative. So I want the world to know I appreciate you.
Yeah, I'm super proud of you. It's
Oh,
amazing what you're doing.
thank you. Thank you so much. So before we get started, can you just tell my audience just a little bit about who you are, just a snippet?
Ooh, that's a tall task. Lived for 50 years, so sometimes, it used to be a short story, now it's getting longer and longer, and I hope it gets even longer than this. But like you said, I'm a wife, I'm a mother. I've been married for 29 years, so a long time to the same man.
Wow, congrats.
We, yes, some days you wonder. We have three beautiful children that are, I'm so proud of my kids. My kids are amazing children. I love life. I love Black people. I love Black women. So I spent most of my career studying what happens with Black women and how that shows up in the world. So that's where I spend a lot of my energy. I'm a nerd. I don't watch a lot of TV. I don't really go to the movies unless my family forces me to. But I read a lot. I love documentaries, so I'm always watching somebody's story. I'm very interested in human interest type of things. I've been a geek since I was 8. So my favorite shows growing up were Sunday Morning, which is you got to know it to know it, and 60 Minutes. So
Wait, I love 60 Minutes, so stop playing.
So those are my two shows. So that is me. I love to travel. I'm a kamikaze travel. I'm really into culture. So I pick a place and we set up shop in a local environment, so Airbnb or whatever, and then we live with the locals. So that's what I like doing. So that's a little bit about me.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing the background. I'm just going to poke a little hole. You
Sure.
said kamikaze?
Kamikaze.
Go ahead, girl.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that. Just tell me a little bit how did you begin being attracted to that? Because a lot of people don't know what it is, because you give a little bit of what it is
Yeah.
and what brought you to that.
So I've always been an adventurer, whether it been in my mind or like actually doing that. So like I said, I read documentaries and I see other people's stories and where they're from, and I'm very interested in that. And so what kamikaze means is that it's just like really kind of a carefree, whatever happens, happens type of environment. So I'll know what city we're going to. I'll know where we're going to lay our head. After that, we figure it out, right? So
Wow.
for instance, one time we were headed to Germany, this little town called Quedlinburg, Germany, and we had 2 weeks. and we knew where we were going to live, in Germany, and we knew we want to go to Paris. So we had two housing arrangements. But then we got to Paris and I looked at the map and I said, oh, wait, we can go to England because the Eurostar, the train, will take you from Paris to England. And they have a situation where you can actually drive your car and sit in the car and go under the English Channel and all this fun stuff. So kamikaze is, hey, we can do this thing. Let's do it, and so we just do it. You get that from being with the locals because I would have never even known that was a real option or how to get that done without talking to people that were in the neighborhood, in the housing complex we were staying in, things like that. So we just tend to find an area that we're interested in, and then we live with the locals. We try to learn as much as the language we can to at least to communicate, and we figure out what we're going to do next, probably after the next.
I love that. I think it's amazing. So I have invisible pews. You can't see them, I can't see them. But these are individuals that may be on their journey and they're looking for something new or they're looking for a target. And I feel like we don't all have to have it figured out. But if you
Mm-mm.
want to go to London or you want to go to Jamaica, get there. And then now, one thing you did say, you know where you're laying your head.
Yes,
But when you get there, immerse yourself in the culture. Don't just do the tourist thing.
tourists.
Find out a little bit more.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Rent a car, drive. It's okay. Right? Most drive on the same side of the road we do, and all the traffic signs are universal. A stop sign is a stop sign no matter what country you go to. You know, the word stop may be in a different language, but the sign itself is universal. So you pretty much can drive in any country in the world and things like that.
oh, that's a great point. And you're right. The words may be different, but the what is it, a hexagon or whatever the space is, you
Yep.
said it's still the same.
And it's red and it's all that. So it's all, yes, those are universal things.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
That gives people a perspective like get out there and live life.
Hmm.
You don't all have to have it. And this is with life itself. Sometimes we won't move forward on certain things because they feel like I don't have the complete picture.
Hmm.
But a part of life is navigating through that and making your own picture. You don't have to have a complete picture. You should have some foundations, but you
Right.
don't have to have the complete picture,
Right.
correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if I can mention my very favorite book in the whole world, and I read this book every year, it's called The Alchemist, right? And so The Alchemist is about this boy, this shepherd boy, who's looking for this destination. He knows what the destination is, but he doesn't know how to get there, right? And so in the book, what he does, he takes the next best step. He doesn't think about 10 steps, 20 steps from now. He just takes the next best step.
Mm.
And every step along the book, he gets more information that he needs for the next step of his journey to get to that
Mm.
destination, right? And so that's how I see the world. That's how I live my life is the next best step. And sometimes those steps they're treacherous and sometimes they are amazing, right? But I also know that, I serve a God that there's always the next day.
Yes, yes. And being willing to get up and do, because if you're just sitting there and you choose not to go and investigate or move forward to the next step, where would you be? You remain stagnant, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And
Absolutely.
say the name of the book again.
The Alchemist.
Okay. And who is that by?
Oh, what is his name? Pablo. Mm-hmm.
If
I'll get
not,
it to you. Yeah,
if
I'll get it to you before we're done.
listen,
It's
everybody
Pablo.
has access to
Yeah.
Google. If not, they can look it up. Okay.
Yeah, it's the only book named that, and it's an old book. It was, authored in 1970 something. It's an old book, but it's amazing. It's an amazing read.
Wow. Well, we have to get into my absolutely
Yes.
favorite thing. It's music. Woo!
Like yes.
Music has turned me all the way out in a great way, okay? And I say all that to say because I have a question for you regarding music. You ready to
Okay.
go on this ride with me?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Can you identify a song that has either blessed you, distracted you, or given you perspective? Now, before you answer,
Okay.
there's some rules to this, okay?
Okay.
If you can sing, I
Ooh.
need you to sing your throat box out, sis.
I'm glad you said if, because I cannot at all. I can't even hum a tune. It's bad.
But if you can rap, I need you to come hard in the paint. I need you to do it like they
Oh,
do it, okay?
oh gosh. Whew.
However, this last category may apply to you. If you cannot do either one,
Okay.
at least if you can say the lyrics to the song or talk about the song with passion, like they say in the streets, you need to stand 10 toes down. I need to be able to feel what you're talking about. I need to feel it. So I'll go back to my original question. Can you identify a song that has either blessed you, distracted you, or provided perspective in your life?
There's so many. I love music too. So there's so many. There's two that come to mind and they're polar opposites.
That's okay.
Um, One is The God in Me by Mary Mary.
Oh,
That's my jam. Like, I'm like, because sometimes, in our positions, people think that you did it. Like you got the degree, you got this, that, another. My husband had an amazing career in the NFL. They think that, that's why you have things. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. It is definitely the God in me, you know. So that's number one. And the other one is by Carrie Hilson, which is Pretty Girl Rock. I love that song. Right. So when I need to like if I'm speaking and I get nervous, like right before you go on stage, that's the song that just, my name is Carrie. I'm so very fly. Oh my, it's a little bit scary. Like that's and I changed the name from Carrie to Mari. Yeah, my
okay.
name is Mari. So
I
those
love
two,
it.
those are my two songs. I don't know
Yeah.
why. I don't know the Carrie, I don't really know. It's just that song just stuck with me.
Well, I believe everything has its energetic cord, and if you can use that for giving you that extra boost to get out on stage, why
Mm.
not? That's what music
Yeah.
is for. But I got to
Absolutely.
tiptoe back.
Uh-huh.
And can you give me some lyrics of Mary Mary?
Whew. I'm trying to think of where, because they can sing and I cannot. It's like, what is it you think you see? It's the God in me. So that's all I can give you. That's all I can give you because I cannot sing.
Yes, it's very catchy, it's very upbeat, but the truth, it is all the God in us that shines so brightly, and I love that song. So yeah,
Yeah.
and I remember when it came out, people were like, "Wait a minute, that's more like upbeat, like hip hop." That's not,
Club music.
yeah, they were like, "Oh," but for me, I look at it like this: does it resonate with the people? Is it getting their attention? And it did. And even to this day, if it comes in, it's the God in me. It's the
See,
God in me. it makes you
yeah,
it makes you shake just a little bit harder
just
in a
just a
great
little bit
way.
harder.
So let's get into you being a psychologist.
Hmm. Hmm.
Before we even get started, what was the impetus to even lead you in that direction
Ah.
to say, I want to be a psychologist?
I had absolutely no desire. Like that was not my thing, not my calling. Um, However, when I was in school, when I think back when I was in school, I went to Arizona State, and I would be sitting in psychology classes, and I literally be fighting the Lord, like, I don't want to do this. This don't sound fun. Who wants to talk to people for like seriously? I would have these conversations in my head, not really understanding that that was God pulling me to. Because I was like, this is not what I want to do. I want to be a
Mm.
high-powered attorney. That's what I want to do.
Wow.
Um, and I got my degree actually in justice studies, and I was going to law school. That was everything that I was planning to do. Um, I I got sick the day of the LSAT. I was pregnant with our second child and got sick the day of the LSAT, and I delivered a daughter who died.
I'm
And
sorry.
it's been 27 years, so I can smile about it now. And I had a therapist because I was a hot,
Mm,
capital HOT mess. And, I didn't want to live. When you go through that, you just don't understand. Like, it's just so painful. So I had this therapist, Paula Tanis, who I think is my lifeline. She's my angel,
mm,
who would sit with me and talk to me about all the crazy thoughts I had about her, my daughter, and life and death and all this other stuff. And she would say, "Yeah, I get it. I understand." And I'm like, "I'm just angry at God." She's like, "Good. That means you believe in him, because you can't
mm.
you can't be angry at somebody you don't believe." And I was like, you're right." So, and we had this really beautiful relationship for 2 years as she walked me through this horrible time. And I was determined to help other women manage through difficult times because I had a wonderful group of people through the most horrible experience, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Um, Very shortly after that, a friend of ours had something very similar happen, um, and her baby died as well.
Mm,
And her experience was horrible. Like the hospital wasn't good to her. Just all the things that I experienced because everybody came to my aid. She had nobody. So I came to her aid. And I was like, nope, stop. You're gonna take pictures and you're gonna do all the things that they asked me to do when I was going through my situation. Um, and I started to see more and more people, women that were going through these horrible times and not having a support system.
mm.
And everybody just saying, "Oh, it's over. Your baby died. Go home." Right? Um, and so I wanted to become the therapist that helped me. Right? So I went back to school for another 1,000 years, and my whole goal was to help women deal with grief.
Wow.
I didn't know that that was just the door in the that was a foot in the door to all this other stuff.
Uh-huh.
But that is how I came to become a psychologist, was just through my own pain.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think it's something very connective. And you hear the term in the church, what comes from the heart, what penetrates the heart comes from the heart.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like this was led, just like you said, because of your pain. You're like, I don't want anybody else to go through that.
Yeah.
However, you did not just sit in that particular area,
Right.
correct?
Right.
Are you currently still in behavior management for the teens 13 through say 21 that's going to school? Because I know that was a lot of your focus,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the ones that were in sports and
Yeah.
they kind of lived their whole life through sports and they
Yeah.
never really had their own identity. Can you
Exactly.
speak to that and what kind of tools or management you have provided for them?
Yeah, so yeah, I still serve. I mean, my population is 13 and up, I say, because I have people all throughout that age range. Sports became really important to me, my husband's career, right? So we lost our daughter his second year in, no, third year in the NFL.
Wow.
So, we were around lots of athletes, obviously, every day and all this other stuff. And the friend that lost was another wife. And then we had a series of folks having these type of issues. And the men weren't necessarily dealing with what was going on, right? They went to work. Like, even my husband's like, I gotta go to work. Just I'm going to
Mhm.
work. I can't deal with it. Um, and so I always had a heart for Black males. That's why I wanted to be an attorney, was to save them in the legal system, right? Um, And so as I started looking at what was going on and what I wanted to do, I was still helping women, but there was this calling back to these Black men and making sure that they got good care, right? Well, where are Black males? Jail, dead, college, right? Well, jail, I can't do nothing with them. Dead, can't do nothing with them. College, right? But our Black males in college, 80% of them are athletes.
Wow, I didn't know those statistics.
80% of Black males who are in college are athletes.
Wow, we need to change that.
Oh my gosh, we do. We do. Right. Now, if you look at concentrations, you look at HBCUs and things like that, there's a lot of Black males there. But even there, most HBCUs, Black males are, there's 70% female to 25% males in most
Wow.
HBCUs. Some of
Mm,
the larger ones, it's more 60-40 female to male. So we still don't have a lot of representation. Anyway, long story short, so I'm in athletics with my husband and his career, and we are becoming old because you become old in the NFL at 5 years
mm,
because the average career is 3. So super old. We're holding Bible studies for a lot of the team members. I have this psychology degree, so I'm also providing some care to some of the women. But I'm seeing these Black males who are coming through that have their whole identity is wrapped up in what they do or
mm,
whatever image got them to get a sponsorship, right? So if they acting a fool to get a sponsorship, they have to keep acting a fool type of thing.
mm.
Um, but that's not who they really were. So, anyway, long story short, that's what got my interest in sports. It wasn't about athletes, it really is about helping our people be better,
Mm.
emotionally better. But the ones that I could have access to were college, and the ones in college were in sports, right? So, went back to school for another 1,000 years and got got some certification in um, uh, performance psychology, things like that, and realized in performance psychology, it was really all about making them faster and stronger, but mentally they didn't, there was no really adherence to what was going on with them mentally. So
Mm.
luckily, I already had that mental health side. And so I married the sports performance side together so that we actually have holistically well athletes,
Yes.
right? They're not just stronger, faster, able to perform, but they're also able to deal with the stressors and the mental health issues that come with being on the spotlight or come from the pressures of the sport or whatever that is. So that's all to say that's how I got started in that. And I love my athletes. I think they're amazing. They're great creatures. They're motivated individuals. And a lot of times they're isolated emotionally from family, friends, all these other spaces and places. And the younger they are, the worse it is. So that young 13 to 18-year olds, they really struggle. Um,
May I ask, is it
mhm.
because they have, so to speak, they didn't have the opportunity to grow socially, emotionally, because their time that they had available was only dedicated to practicing and they didn't have that social emotional growth?
Uh, you are that's exactly what the problem is, right?
Mm,
That space for just being a kid, right?
mhm,
Or to try on different sports anymore. Like right now we have single sport athletes. So you play basketball year round, right? I'm not going to say how old you are. Back when I was in school,
no.
you played basketball in the winter, you played football in the fall, you ran
Mhm.
track in the spring, right? You had all these different sports, different opportunities to participate in different ways. And now we're in single sport athletes where they don't know anything else, and the pressure is high. And parents and family and friends are putting pressure to get that scholarship or get to that next level, um, sometimes sacrificing their mental health in the process.
So, because we know this and it's been identified, if it is a parent right now that's watching
Mhm.
or a grandparent that they have a child that has showed phenomenal, breathtaking skills in maybe one, two, we'll say three,
Hmm.
but they have not had the opportunity to really live life. What kind of tools or what kind of suggestions you can throw out to them? Because we understand if they're going to have to practice, they're going to have to sacrifice. That's a part of getting to your goal. But what can you suggest to parents or this athlete that's paying attention that they can incorporate along the way, so if they get to say that final point that they've been working 10 and 15 years for, and now they hurt themselves and they can no longer, all this time, all this energy they put in, they can't no longer do this quote unquote job. How do we get them to navigate through life? Does that make
Right.
sense? Am I giving you too much?
No, no, it does. And it, in my opinion, it's not popular. That's the problem, right? Is that you scale back on all of the activities that are only related to that thing, gymnastics, basketball, football, whatever it is, and allow them to experience life in other spaces and places, right? I used to work on the university side, and I see the recruitment, right? I see what's happening in recruitment. And yes, do coaches go to AAU games? They do, but they spend way more time just going to regular season game. They're not really
Mm,
chasing you around the AAU circuit, right? So when we spend time, energy, and money and all focused on that one area, we really are missing all the other opportunities, right? And then if you look at statistically, just who makes it and who doesn't, the odds are not in anyone's favor. I don't care who you are, right? Only 1%,
wow.
literally 1% are going to make it to the next level. And that's every level that you're at. So if you're in high school, only 1% of those kids and all in high school are going to go to college. In college, only 1% are going to go to the league or what have you, right? So it's almost impossible. That doesn't mean you don't try, but it does mean that you are well-rounded so you can do something that incorporates your love for the sport, right? We're seeing that this is just off on a tangent, but we're seeing that in coaching, like in coaching football, the income level of a college coach is greater than the income level of anybody playing in the NFL except for the top 1% of the NFL players,
Wait,
right?
wait. Okay, we have pause moments on this
Yes.
podcast, all right?
Hmm. Okay.
So I need you to say that, run that back, and
Hmm.
say that again because I need someone to pay attention to that because it's a false narrative that has been given out in the world because I didn't know that. So say that
Yes.
again.
So college coaching, they're making more money than 99% of players,
Wow.
right? Think about it. And the information's out there, but I'm a geek and I'm a nerd, right? I told you. So I'm always researching stuff.
I love it.
You know, the highest paid state official in any state is the university football coach.
What?
Yes. Look at, if I'm lying, look it up. If you look at Alabama, the highest paid official is not the governor, it's not anybody in government. It is the football coach who makes $9 million a year.
Wow.
Governor, 300,000. The football coach, 9 million. Who's a state employee, right? And
Wow.
I'm not mad at them. If you can make it, go do that.
Yes, yes.
But what I'm saying is a lot of our black and brown children, and that's who I have a heart for. So I don't know what your audience is, but
No,
that's what
no, no, definitely that. And
um they don't realize that they're chasing the dream of playing, which is fine. I want you to do that, but also have a plan. If you love the sport, get into operations, get into coaching, get into some of these other spaces that pay very well and you're able to be a part of the sport as well,
yeah,
right? And a lot of times parents, I love them. I was one. My kids played sports, University of Tennessee, so they played big time sports, but also be realistic, right? Is
Yeah.
that yes, my children were, I think they were the best one out there, but they weren't the best one out there,
Mm. You're talking to a parent. You're
right?
talking to a parent.
And that's okay. There's other things that they can do to be just as if not more successful. So I know the NFL well, I know football well. Your average career is 3 years. That's what it is,
Mm.
right? There are those who, like my husband, who played 12. But when my husband was playing 12 years, there was only three people that were over 12 years at that point. Three, not
Wow.
30, three. And 12 years, he was ancient. And he was 33, 34 years old,
Wow.
right? So if you look at statistics, you look at the numbers, all these things, it's just a different world, right? College coaching or coaching in the NFL for that matter, still very rare, still few numbers, but you're talking about something you can do for 30 years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's why, yes, so and so can make $10 million playing as a running back for 5 years, but this other coach can make $90 million for coaching for 30 years.
Yeah.
Which one do you want, right? So to parents, it is make sure your children are well-rounded because their career is going to end at some point. My husband often say, no one leaves, no one really retires, right? You either get cut, you get hurt, right? You usually don't just retire. Even when they say it's retirement, it's a forced retirement, right?
Mm.
And it's way before you're ever ready, no matter what, no matter what sport it is.
Wow.
And so you have to be ready for your second act anyway. So why can't your second act be your first act and your first act be your second act if it happens?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But they have to be well-rounded for that. They have to find out what else do they enjoy.
So if I'm a parent and what I'm absorbing what you're saying, I'm just giving it back to parents to allow your children to go after their dream, but encourage them to have other things that they're interested in and expose them to it. Because
Absolutely.
I always talk about exposure and engagement is what give your kids experience. Those two things.
Yes.
I've exposed my daughter to ballet. She said she wanted to be a blue ballerina. She did 8-week class and she said that's not for me. But
Right.
I gave her the exposure and now she has enough experience to say it's not for me. So I'm hearing you say give them the experience and support them, but don't make it just one sided.
Right. Not monolithic. I mean, we have to diversify and have these other experiences, right? Because the reality is most of those young people are going to have to do the other experience, right? Those other things are what they're actually going to end up doing. So why not do the work that they love,
Yeah,
right?
I
And
agree.
also making sure that parents really make sure that this is the child's dream and not theirs for their
Mm.
child, right? I have several
Let's talk
athletes
about that.
right now who are my mom said, my dad said, you know, and anytime they say that, I said, well, what do you say? And generally it's well, I really want to run track this year. Okay, well, let's run track. My mom won't let me. My dad won't let me, right? And it's those things that really are challenging. So now the child's having to constrict their own wants and needs for themselves,
Mm,
right? And that never plays out well long term, right? When
mm,
I'm doing something for someone else, no
hmm.
matter what that something else is. And so I really want parents to really think about whose dream is this?
No, I think that is true across the board, whether it's sports or anything. Us
Yes.
parents, sometimes we have these dreams and the idea, and it is our job to cultivate, to guide, to expose, to do all those things. But we also have to have the ear to listen when they
Hmm.
say, Mommy, I don't like that anymore,
Right.
or I choose not to do that anymore,
Yeah.
and to listen to their voice, correct?
Yeah. Talk to your children, right? Like let them have a forum to express themselves, right? It ask the question, honey, is this what you want to do? Right? Now, we had a rule in our house. You sign up for it, you finish it, right? That semester, that season, whatever that was. But then, at towards the end, hey, are you enjoying this?
Yeah.
And if you're not enjoying this, I don't want you to be out there. That doesn't mean that practice is going to be easy. What I'm saying is that you look forward to going to practice, and when you get to practice, you hate it, and then when you're done with practice, you like it again, right? That kind of thing. That's okay, but yes, I mean, I have kids that are talking about harming themselves because they would rather harm themselves than tell their parents they don't want to do this thing,
Ooh.
right?
And let me just be an advocate for the parents.
Hmm.
They may be doing that because in their former experience that they feel like that's the best way for the children to have this next best life.
Right. And I get it. And sometimes in our families, right, that's the only way we can pay for college, right? In our minds, when there really are other ways too. And so if the child feels like there's an option, then they can actually enjoy the sport, then it's a job, right?
Yeah.
So it may be looking at making sure grades are good so they can get scholarships other ways and things like that. So I use my husband as an example all the time is that he went to school on an academic scholarship, not a football scholarship,
Wow.
right? So when he decided he didn't want to play, he could decide he didn't want to play,
Yes.
right? And he actually did quit for a hot second, just a hot second, right? But he had power in that.
It was options, and
It
it's
was options.
power in options.
Right. And so basically that's what I try to help parents understand is make sure your child always has options. The option to quit, the option to talk to you, the option to go to school a different way, the option. Now I can relax in my decision.
Hmm. Hmm.
And it's usually a better decision for me because it's not from a place of powerlessness,
Yeah. Or you
right?
have to because everybody expect me to do it, but I'm dying in the inside.
Yeah.
So,
Yes. And unfortunately that's a lot of athletes. It's a
wow.
lot.
Wow. When you say a lot, give me a percentage.
Um, so women's basketball is one of my bigger sports that I do a lot of work in. Um, on a team, I may have 50% of them
Wow.
struggle. Out of 15 girls, seven of them that are like, I don't know if I want to do this, but I can't tell coach that. I can't tell my mama that. And generally, it's that it's not that they want to quit. They just want somebody to hear that,
Mm,
right? And I'm like, well, quit if that's what you want to do.
yes.
Well, and then they go into the, well, but and I'm like, okay, then what's the real issue, right?
Hmm.
But if they sit in that, no one's listening, I can't get out of this, I'm trapped, they make desperate decisions.
So let me ask you this. Do you think it is more of them not having the ability to express themselves
Mhm.
versus they just not want to do the sport because they were only told they had to do this? Expression, self-expression is probably the higher
Yeah.
form of it, you think?
It's probably the higher form, but the problem is that this age group, right? They are already impulsive folks, right? So that's what worries me. It's like they're already stressed and pressured. They don't have experiences outside. They often don't have friends outside the sport, right? So they can't even
Mm,
go talk to other people because their teammates are their friends. That's how it works, right? And then the parents aren't necessarily listening, and they just need to explore how they're feeling. But if I can't say this to my parents, my parents are gonna be mad, or they're gonna tell me get in there and do that, or they're not gonna listen. Then I'm internalizing those things, and I'm an impulsive person just because developmentally their brains are that way. Now I decide to do something that I can't come back from, or
mm,
I act out in another way, right? Drugs,
mm,
alcohol, sex, all kinds of other things. So I have quite a few of my male athletes that smoke marijuana for those same reasons,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
right? And the parents are like, why is he smoking? Because he's stressed out.
Mm, mm,
right? And if the therapist is the only person that hears it, it helps. It helps them to navigate, but it doesn't fix it.
wow. I think this is a real eye opener if you don't have I don't have my son, he is like band, he does other things, he's not in sports. Not saying it doesn't apply, but I didn't know it was this deep down the rabbit hole when it comes to athletes and them their voice being limited and everybody else telling them what they have to do.
Hmm.
But I would think about this, it probably would apply with anything else where you have somewhere where it's money riding on the line
Yeah.
and people are
Yes.
like, no, this is what should be done, whether it's coaches, parents, bystanders, family, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm again a big
Mhm.
I promote consistently on this platform. Take care of you, elevate you, and then you can do things for everyone else.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's what I feel like you're sharing. So these athletes and the parents of the athlete and anybody else can be aware that, listen, some of them are suffering silence. They
Hmm.
suffer in silence. And now you wonder when they come back and they don't hit those goals why they're depressed or they can't get up and go do these things because internally they haven't had the opportunity to express
Right.
themselves.
It's not a game anymore.
Hmm.
Right? It's a game when you don't get the touchdown and yeah, you mad for a minute, then you go out there and you go get some ice cream after the game. But some of my athletes, that's not their experience.
Mm.
They get the lashing from the parent and why you didn't catch that? Why you didn't do this? Right? Because the parent is trying to make them better. I get why it's happening, but the child doesn't get to just like let it go. They didn't get it. It was a mistake. It didn't happen for them. It's okay. There's another game.
So, how do we become healthy with, because we all should have some guidance, some redirection, so a coach should say, listen, man, I know you can do better than that. During practice, you caught it 95%. What's going on with that? Should it just be the coach that's doing it or the parents say, hey, I know you can do better than that. We're going to let you have that, you work on it and move forward. What's the tools
Mhm.
to kind of
Yeah,
balance that out? Does that make sense?
it does. It does. So I highly encourage parents to let the coach be the coach.
Okay.
Let the coach be the coach. If you don't like the coach, get a different coach, but don't become another critic in your child's
Mm,
life.
okay.
Right. So they're not going to come to you if they always feel like they're being critiqued and criticized. And, usually feedback in those spaces is not positive. Right. And if it is positive, a lot of times, if the parent doesn't really understand what's happening, the kid's like, I really didn't do great, so they don't even receive it anyway. So it really is let the coach be the coach, let the
Mm,
game be a game.
mm, mm. Um, I think you have really shined some light on some things that I knew about or I had my ear to the ground about, but you were able to dive in a little bit deeper to provide a perspective. And hopefully, this helping someone to look at things different, whether it's today, tomorrow, 5 years from now. We bless that this will give them a perspective on that.
Yeah.
I want to get back into this boat of music.
Thank you. Let's go back to the boat of music.
As I said before, I love music. Excuse me, I'm still recovering from my cold.
Ah,
Can you identify
mhm.
a song that you've been playing maybe all your life, and then one day you go, wait 1 minute, I've been saying that all this time, and now I know what this song means? Can you identify a song?
I don't know if I didn't know what it meant, but this song, I've I've sang because okay, so I come from old school parents, right? So Shirley Murdoch and Atlantic Star, right? These two, Why I'm singing about secret lovers? Like, why?
We were all doing it because, as I said before, the tone, the cadence, the energy of it. If you have not known what a secret lover is, you you will not entertain. You'll just like it's the song Secret Love.
Secret love. And you like jamming and singing. You're like, wait, hold on, right? And
But
then Shirley Marlowe morning. This morning. Like,
girl,
wait, do you know what this
girl,
song means?
and I loved that song until I became an adult. Because guess what? Once you get a little bit more experience
Just a little
in
bit.
life, you go, wait 1 minute.
And you slept the night away. What? What? Wait. Hold on. I don't know if that's what you're supposed to be talking about. Ever. Especially as a kid, but even as an adult. Like, that's not what you're supposed to be doing.
But yes,
So
that's what
yeah.
life. Yes, that is funny. You gave two great ones, Secret Lover and Shirley Murdoch. What's the name of that song again?
I I don't know if it's called morning, but it's morning. I don't know the
As we
actual
slept the night.
as we I think it's as we slept. I
Oh, well,
think.
I don't know. But I just remember the lyrics, as we slept the night
Not
away.
away.
Yes. And let me say this for the record. I love both of those songs. I think they're wonderful. It's just that now I get the meaning behind
Oh, I still sing them. They still come on. I'm still like,
it.
but as a child, there should be
Yes.
no reason that I know. And maybe because I
Yeah.
didn't really understand the lyrics that it made sense, for me as a kid. But yeah.
Yes. Yes. Again, experience take you to that next level. You enjoy it because you enjoy it. With that being said, let's talk about your childhood. Can you identify a song that you had the opportunity to purchase all on your own? It's not because your mother or your father purchased it. Maybe you saved some money from doing some chores and you're like, ooh, 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 this is what I'm going to purchase. Can you identify a song?
It was the album.
Go ahead.
Purple Rain. The whole
Okay.
album.
Oh,
Love it. I was gonna marry Prince. That was my husband to be. Yes.
yeah. Oh, wow. The whole album?
The whole album. I don't know if you remember, oh gosh, what's the name of the record store? Odyssey Records.
Yes, of course.
And you go in there, you can hear it over the headphones.
Of
And
course.
yeah. I went to Odyssey Records and bought the Purple Rain album.
Wow.
And it was like 14.99 back in the day, so that was a lot of money.
But that was what your heart was set on.
Yes.
Wow, purple. So, since I'm not going to put you on the spot, but I am. Give me one song off of that album and give me some lyrics to one of the
Oh,
songs.
Diamonds and Pearls.
Mm.
I can't sing that though.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to. Oh, if you give me diamonds and pearls. Yeah, that's about, yeah,
but are you still a big Prince fan?
I am.
Yes. Yes. What made you so attracted to Prince?
He's cute. Actually, that's the wrong album because Diamond and Pearls is on the Diamond and Pearl album, but that's a whole nother story. I Would Die for You is
Okay.
on Purple
I
Rain.
would.
I would die for you. Hey. So I had the hands what I would die for you. Yes. There we go. I had to make sure I had to get that right. It's wrong
Yes,
album.
I
But yeah.
was thinking, I was like, wait, Diamonds and Pearls was for, but yes, you're
Yep.
right. That's on there. And what is, what's Dove's Cry is on
Doves
that
Cry.
particular
Yep.
one. I'm trying to think of what else.
Purple
Um,
Rain.
yes, hello, the name of
Hello.
the album. I just think
Yes.
that he was very eclectic and
Yes.
he did his own thing his own way. And that's what I loved about
Yeah, that is, yeah. That's, yeah. He did his own thing his own way. I
him.
loved it.
Yes, Prince. So let's talk about, I know we talked about athletes, we talked about their perspective and giving them a voice, but let's talk about currently our
Hmm.
atmosphere. So I have
Yeah.
something that I do, and this has allowed me to navigate through COVID.
Hmm.
It allows me to navigate now. I'm aware of what's going on, but I'm not focused
Hmm.
on what's
Hmm.
going on.
Yeah.
Two different things. Aware, you see a car coming, you need to be aware. But focus is you're giving all your energy, your
Hmm.
opportunity, your mind to this one thing. You don't have the opportunity to look at anything else. That's to
Right.
me what focus is. In this current
Mm.
time frame that we're in, I see a lot of people losing it,
Yeah.
meaning they're going from one to 1,000. They're not, I guess my assessment is they're not saying, okay, let me just step back and not get so involved in it. We know that right now in this world that attention is what everybody is looking for, and it may not be
Hmm.
the best.
Right.
From your perspective, your background as a doctor, and as your
Hmm.
experience in life, what would you say to someone that's so focused on everything that's going on now
Yeah.
in the world? What piece of advice would you give them?
Um, the biggest piece is control what you can, right?
Mm,
Only control, and that's where your focus is on the things that I can control. Um, and realize that a lot of this is designed to keep you in, confusion and anxiety. Because when we're
mhm,
in our anxious brain, we make anxious decisions, and they're usually not the wisest ones, even if they're the right ones, right? So
mm,
wisdom says, I know why and how and what, and anxiety says, I'm just acting. Right? And there's a
mm.
50-50 chance you're going to be right there. So you can still be right, but not wise. And so there's this thing called the art of confusion.
Say that one more time, Dr. Mari.
There's this thing called the art of confusion. It's an art, right? Manipulators use it all the time. So when, I have lots of people tell me, he or she's gaslighting me. That's the art of confusion.
Mm,
Right? So it happens a lot in different places, and that's what's happening in our world right now is the art of confusion, and it keeps you in the spirit of anxiety because you don't
mm,
know what's up, what's down, what's right, what's left. And so if you can focus in on what you control, you become very cognitive. And when you're cognitive, you can't be emotional at the same time, right? The way God designed our brains are not cognitive and emotional together,
mm,
right? Literally, your cognitive abilities are at the front of your brain. The prefrontal cortex, executive functioning happens there. That's where you make decisions.
mhm,
Anxiety lives in the back of your brain, literally at the base. So the other side of your head, right? So you can't be anxious and emotional at the same time because they are two different areas of the brain. You get to pick though, right? You should always pick the cognitive side. And the cognitive side is fact-based. What are the facts? That's why you talk about what you can control.
mhm,
You can control, those are factual things. I can control how much money I spend.
mhm,
I can control where I live. I
mhm.
can control generally where I work. I mean, that's a whole thing right now, but
Yes.
generally where I work, I control my education level. I can control those things. And
Mhm,
that's where I focus in, and that keeps me from being in that anxious brain that thinks of all the things that could happen, right?
mm,
So in my world, we talk about living in the world of possibility and probability.
mm,
Possibilities are endless. That's where anxiety lives, because all the things that could happen.
mhm,
Probability are the things that should happen, right? Those are
mhm,
facts.
mhm,
If I spend less than I make, I should have money left over,
mm, mm,
right? If I live in possibilities, oh my gosh, I could lose my job, I could lose my house, I could lose my car, right? All that stuff that keeps you in that art of confusion. So really it's about focusing in on the things I control, figuring out what the facts are for me, not in
Hmm.
the world, but my facts,
Correct.
and living in that space, not allowing that anxiety start making decisions.
So I know this may be not typical, but because you
Hmm.
are a Christian woman,
Hmm.
does spirituality or religious play a part in how you navigate this current system?
For me, absolutely. Like, but that's me in general, right?
Hmm.
Um, is that I always know God is in control and he reigns on the just and the unjust,
Uh-huh.
right? So I'm reading Jeremiah right now because I'm reading Jeremiah. I don't know why, but that's why I'm reading. I'm reading, and it's talking about King Nebuchadnezzar, and he was a horrible, horrible, horrible king, but God had him in that place. And sometimes it's hard for us to reconcile, right? That God
Hmm.
has that king in that place for that thing. We
Hmm.
just don't know what the thing is because his ways are not our ways. But I
Hmm.
always trust God. I trust that God is going to turn whatever it is
A wrap.
for our good,
Hmm. Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Jeremiah 29:11,
Yes.
right? And so, yes, that plays a big part. And I try, not all my patients are believers, but I also incorporate that into what I do with them, even when it's not direct scripture,
Yeah.
is that everything always tends to work out.
Hmm.
Right? I'll say things like that. Everything
Yes.
always tends to work out when we
Yes.
focus on what we need to do.
Hmm. Hmm.
So,
And
but
I
yes, it's a
think
big part.
that's the biggest thing I want to focus on is to focus on you, love yourself, be in love, be madly in love with yourself. If
Yes,
you have a group of 10 of you guys and you were all scheduled to go out to eat and you were so excited to go and everybody said they're not going, and you now take yourself out and love
absolutely.
yourself. And I've done things like that. And guess what? I met a whole new group of friends and now I had a
Hmm.
whole, so I just want people, don't allow the distractions to take you over.
No,
It is a distraction game, and just love on yourself, love on the people around you. And before you know it, that stuff will be in the past and you'll have the tools to move forward.
yeah. My big mom used to say, "Don't borrow worry,"
Ooh, come on,
right?
girl.
And I really live in that space is that because we're not, like I said in the beginning, I am blessed every day that I wake up, literally, because we are not promised. And I think we really take it for granted that we are. We are not promised tomorrow. So I don't borrow worry. I don't worry about things that haven't happened,
Yes,
right? I
yes,
deal with the things, I know I'm equipped to deal with the things as they come.
yes, yes.
Right. And so I don't concern myself with what's going to happen tomorrow because I don't even know if tomorrow will happen. So I'm going to live with as much joy, peace, happiness, the fruits of the spirit today.
That's right. I love that. I love that. Don't borrow
Don't
worry.
borrow worry.
Wow, that's powerful. Ooh,
Mhm.
I'm gonna have to use that and give
Absolutely.
your big mama credit.
And she probably got it from somebody too. So, they had all the good sayings. I mean, we need to put a book together of all their sayings because they were wise people.
Girl, say that. Definitely that. We're gonna go back into music
Okay.
again. Is there a particular song when your spirit is down? Because we all have our times in life where we are going through something and we need something to pick us up, pick our spirit up, but we can't depend on our sister,
Mhm.
our friend. We need to be able to do it on our own. Is there a particular song that you can tap into that really just brings your spirit up?
I told you I'm an old soul, so I love Shirley Caesar, and her song Jesus. That is my jam. That is my jam. I was being there just Jesus. I love calling your name. Like that's my jam.
Oh, how cute. Go ahead and shout out to Shirley Caesar. We know when she gives a word, she gonna give a word. She ain't
Yeah.
just singing like this.
Mm-mm.
She is stomping. She is calling. She is, I mean, I'm like, wow, how do you do that? That's the kind of wildness I get from her, you know? So,
Listen. And when I'm in the shot or when I'm not on a screen, I'm screaming and shouting and hollering that song. That is my jam. I just, I'm a little shy because I can't sing. So, but when it's just me, oh, you would think I was Shirley Caesar.
oh, wow. Well, I think that's wonderful. Before we get out of here, I would like for you, not have, I would like for you to, if you like, I know you say you don't, but is it any upcoming events, anything you have going on you would like to direct people to, or just provide some social media handles, or say a parent saw this particular
Mhm.
interview and say, hey, you know what, I may not personally know how to navigate those waters with my child, and maybe she's available or she
Mhm.
can direct me to someone
Absolutely.
that can support me. Can you provide that
Yeah.
contact information?
So on Instagram, I'm Dr. Mari, PhD. So DrMari, PhD. So yeah, definitely follow me. I'm not big on social media. My daughter's helping me get better with that. But they can always reach out, DM me. I do referrals all the time, so I don't charge you to talk to you about what's going on. I love to help people connect folks to other folks, or if I can help, I will help as well. So yeah, that's my Instagram handle.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, I got a little something.
Yay. Well, thank you so much
Yes.
for just sharing your perspective, not only with music, but also with your background with being a doctor and your
Mhm.
experience and everything
Mhm.
just poured into one big bubble and being transparent. So I thank you
Yeah,
for that.
absolutely.
My last question is,
Sure.
can you provide a, if you had the opportunity to dedicate a song to the world,
Mm.
excuse me, song would you choose to dedicate to the world?
So one of my very favorite songs is by Stephanie Mills, Never Knew Love Like This. I love that song. And I dedicate it in that song is like how I feel about God, right? Like just never knew a love that just opens you up, right? So I want everybody in the world to feel that kind of love, whether it be romantic love or agape love or whatever kind of love that is. I sing that song to my children. I still sing it to them all the time, right? Like I just
Oh,
never knew how to love. Like this is amazing. I sing it to my husband. He don't want to hear it, but I sing it to him too. But that is the song that just I love that song. Yeah.
oh, that is so wonderful. I love that. Look,
Yeah.
she's dedicated a love song for everybody to feel that love. And that's
Yeah.
really to me what life is about love on the next level, like to experience it. And once you have that experience, it's nothing you really can compare it to. I remember hearing this saying, it's better felt than told.
Oh, yes.
That's what love is. You
It
have to
is.
experience. We can describe it all day long, but when you got that inside true experience of it, you go, ooh, this is something
Yeah.
amazing.
Hmm.
Out of here. Any last words would you like to share with my audience? Excuse me.
I think the biggest thing that I tell my patients and, any kind of groups I'm talking to is that, the best relationship begins with yourself, right? A
Mm.
right relationship begins with you. And that's what you're talking about. You have to love yourself. You have to give to yourself. You have to make sure you have good boundaries with you and with other people. And if you can do that, then you can extend that as far as the eye can see. But it really does start with you.
Wow, you know what? That was right on time. That aligns with me on multiple levels. And it is true. If you love yourself, you can navigate these waters of life. I'm not saying it'd be perfect, but you'll get to the next step, okay?
Yes.
So, you guys, please, please put your hands together and thank my wonderful, wonderful guest, special guest, Dr. Mari Ross Alexander.
Thank you.
We
Thank you.
appreciate you. I thank you. And as I say to all my guests, I'll see you out here in these Las Vegas streets.
In these streets. I love it.
Thank you.